It's 102 right now and 5% humidity.
Nice.
You win.
Yeah, that would be pleasant right now. And our Wednesday, it's funny. Nature's like, oh, hey, you got something going on Wednesday, don't you? Well, that's when you're going to get the one rain.
Yep.
Are you guys in Arizona?
No, we're in Texas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Kat and I are in Arizona.
Yeah, they're the Arizonians.
Okay.
But
Did
yeah.
you stay in LA, Meow Cow?
Close, yes. I was in Irvine.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And then moved out here where it's affordable but miserable.
It's sad when the Austin area is affordable.
Yeah. Compared to Irvine, yes. And then I thought, for a while, I thought Irvine was expensive, and then I moved to San Francisco for a little bit, and I was like,
oh my God. I live in San Jose.
Yeah.
I'm really glad we bought a condo 7 years ago. Let's just say that. Like, renting, there's no way. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, we were renting a place in Foster City.
Okay.
That was
so a bit of a commute, but not like...
Yeah, it was affordable.
Yeah.
Affordable, but it was $3,200 a month.
Mm-hmm.
Holy mother of God.
Yeah. Affordable.
Yeah.
But that's low for the San Francisco Bay Area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, oh well. Such is life.
Okay.
Oh, I should probably get into the
Who's leading this monkey band?
Oh, it's me.
It's me. Oh, I guess we're live. I didn't notice that. I haven't said anything incriminating, I don't think. So.
No, we're not quite live. Okay, yes, chat room. Let us know. They can see us and they can hear us. So, Kat, let me know when we're ready to leave this, and I will start this bad boy. Spouse of mine?
He is frozen with a big smile on his face.
I know. It's kind of weird. It's kind of freaking me out.
Yeah, a little bit. Is he doing it on purpose?
Evidently, the banish took effect.
I see him. He is muted.
I know. On my screen, there's just a
there
big
you are.
grin.
You were muted for a second. It's like
Chat and a smile, and it's weird.
Yes.
Oh no, I was actually talking to someone in a different room. So yes, it was muted. Otherwise, that would have been very, very loud.
He's still smiling over there.
My face. That's my husband.
He's been replaced by some smelly person. Oh, and there he goes.
Hey, hon. Oops. No, hon. Get back.
He probably just is recalling or reestablishing the...
Well, now they've got my problems fleshed out. Now they're going down the line, so they're going to hit everyone else.
No, I dealt with this. I started at 3:45 today to get my computer to get it ready for now. So it's like I went through it, just not here. I was doing tests before I got here.
Okay. Well, I had to. I'm guessing the recent Windows update broke it because I had to uninstall all of my camera stuff, leave it uninstalled, reboot, come back up, and then it's like, oh, you have a camera.
Oh yes, no, that's I did much the same thing.
All right, can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Yep, we can
Yes.
hear you.
All right,
Sorry,
I had to
not
restart.
perpetually happy.
Quick question, because I'm looking over the lead in, the open. Are you going to do your usual? Hey, what have you guys been doing in whatever games you're in? Or
Oh
not?
yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
But keep it to like.
Oh, so you want to start?
No, we don't need
Keep it
an
under
Uncle
10 minutes
Hank
length.
story.
Okay.
I know.
I mean, if you do let me know, I'm going to mute and then go crawl in the corner. And...
Mine will be brief. Don't worry.
All right, I just retweeted. We're good, McCullough. Whenever you want to take us live.
Okay, going live. And McCall at the top of the document. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. On this episode of the AIE Podcast.
The community has been very, very busy.
Summer of Love is just around the corner.
We have fun, and boy, is it mandatory.
So get ready for heaven on high.
And we're getting the band back together in more ways than one on this episode of the AIE Podcast. Wow, I screwed that one up.
It's for A.
All right. All right. 1 second. All that and more coming up now.
Doodle-doo-doodle-doo, show theme.
Welcome to episode 300 of the podcast celebrating you, the Aaliyah Octa S gaming community. The Die Has Been podcast. 300, that can't be right, is it?
It is.
Did I?
I think it is.
That's pretty freaking crazy. I'm Makala. To my left is Miyuko.
Greetings, gamers.
And to my right and downstairs is Ted Semi.
This is spreadsheets. Oh wait, wrong game. Sorry.
Hey, I resemble that remark.
And as I'm sure you heard in the introduction and the interjections, we are joined by a duo of amazing co-hosts for this very special occasion, Gomez and Lang Theris. Welcome, guys. Thank you so much for coming tonight. It means a world to us.
Oh, you're welcome.
Hi. You're welcome.
Would not miss it. Would not miss it.
We were supposed to have a third special guest. He was not able to make it, but we'll be doing something with that later on this week. So let's go ahead and go alphabetical. Gomez, what have you been doing as of late?
So I am currently taking some time off work, just between jobs right now. And my parents' 50th wedding anniversary is in August. So I'm like flying home for that. And so I'm just taking a little break, getting back into Overwatch.
Nice.
So that has been fun.
Hamster balls.
The hamster balls is very amusing, but I'm still trying to get better with Zenyatta, so I'm not just a one trick. Because I just played Lucio, and that's all for about 2 years.
You're my soulmate. I love Lucio.
But yeah, that's basically what I've been up to.
Very cool. Very cool. And Link, what have you been up to?
What have I been up to? What subversive things have I been doing?
Pretty much.
And I promise to keep it under 10 minutes.
No, guys, so people who were not around for pre-show, literally, it's like, are you going to ask about what you've been up to? I'm like, yeah, just keep it under 10 minutes, literally. So starting now.
All right, No. So, of course, I've been helping out the Alliance. Hoots has gone on a little bit of a summer vacation for a couple of weeks. So he's let Argus and myself be the co-CEOs stand-ins for while he was on vacation.
Which is scary if you think about it. If actual companies did this, hey, we're going to be away for 2 weeks. Temporarily, you're in charge. It's yikes.
No,
yeah.
It's great. It's great because I've done it before, but this time it's when Hoots announced it, he goes, okay, and Argus and Lank fight. So Argus and I decided to do a drinking game on Wednesday over drinking second, third tier like whiskey, and he who was be standing would end up in charge.
Oh, I
mean, of course,
I would never be in charge with that game. I love whiskey, but it hits me really quickly.
Well, maybe that's good. You don't have the fortitude necessary.
I'm Irish. I should. Anyway, so you're drinking bad whiskey.
So drinking bad whiskey, but of course the last final shot is okay, you're leaving Lank in charge. Will we have an alliance by the time we get back?
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? I don't have a reputation, do I? And
no.
they're like, oh, no, not at all.
It's not a reputation. Lank, it's called history. It's not a reputation. People were actually there and can recount the tales.
Yeah. There is a reputation.
Do we have to go get... Yeah, Lank, do we have to go get work?
Oh, God. Oh, that would be awesome.
we have it's a well documented fact. Don't make me go through previous podcasts and document every time you have acted up, my friend, when it comes to you. Because I will. I love documentation.
See, earlier this week we posted something about the Corp has a fleet commander program, which someone says Fleet Commander FC, also short for fun creator. So I'm just creating the fun.
That'll be.
That's how I justify it to myself.
Right.
Yes.
But besides that, I am now a freshly minted Alliance Gang FC Fleet Commander. With about 3 of the other guys in the Alliance, so we're in charge of people. Oh God. and
Scary.
That seems to keep happening to you.
and no, it's been a busy time because it's like, so besides that, I found my way to kind of entrapped, voluntold on becoming the assistant director of communications for the Alliance.
Wow.
Chief
That's not gonna get
propagandist.
you.
You know what? No, you've always
Yeah.
been the chief.
Generator.
No, you've always been the chief propagandist. What are you talking about?
But now it's
I don't care
official.
the title with it. It's you. That's always been part of your job.
It's great because the Alliance actually created a little like meme of me going, it's like there's original, he is now our official like narrative creator, storyteller. And I'm like, oh God.
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
So I jump into Fleets and now it's like, tell us a story, Papa Lank. Tell us a story.
And they don't
Tell us
time
a story, Ankle Lank. Yeah.
So yeah, it's
Awesome.
been kind of busy, and it's just like, wow, what? And, it's like here I'm trying to keep my nose clean and head down and staying out of mischief, but mischief always follows me.
Oh, I wonder why.
It,
All right,
it
Loki.
finds you, yeah.
Well, mischief
Ariana.
mixed with leadership, which is kind of terrifying.
And bad whiskey.
Yeah.
There, I have to
Never forget
say,
that with
is
me.
there is a long tradition of shenanigans and leadership.
Right.
I mean,
Oh,
honestly,
it wouldn't be fun if that wasn't the case.
you start
Now and
realizing.
again, dumb decisions must be made.
And they make good
absolutely.
stories.
We talk about art imitating life, imitating art, but it's like, oh my God, it's like art. Eve imitating life, imitating Eve, imitating life. It's like, it's like it's crazy because it's like, wow, not to bring it on down, but all the current affairs somehow bleed into Eve, or is it the other way around? Oh, it's like I've lost track. Yeah, but that's what I've been doing.
Awesome. So Mew, what have you been doing late as of late?
Well, it's summer in Texas, so it's just been melting.
Not going outside.
Yeah, pretty much. Just finding places you can go to that don't require too much outside time to do so.
Yeah.
So, running
Like
to the indoor mall.
malls.
Yeah, indoor mall we yesterday.
Indoor mall connected to the movie theater.
Yes.
So you can burn another
Yeah.
2.5 hours without
Yes.
having to be out
Right.
in it.
Also,
Yes,
with restaurants inside of it's even better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which is just spend a few hours there, because the air conditioning is so much better than yours for some reason.
And
But,
there's play areas.
have-
Little
have-
more.
Players.
Have you already signed up for like the family like movie pass, like a thing where it's like, hey, we're gonna hang out in the movie all day today?
Not quite at that age yet, but we did sign up for the full year pass to the aquarium, which is
Perfect.
the same kind of thing where you can just take them from time to time and just let them go nuts. And then in the back is actually a full climbing area. So
Oh, your child needs that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. It's like he just kind of walks through.
Yeah.
Oh, fish! Oh, fish! Oh, fish! Climbing area. Zoom, gone.
Perfect.
So that's him. And then, so yeah, that's been the most focus. And then otherwise, game wise, so there's been fun with Warcraft, fun with our artifacts.
Mhm.
And so been going through alts and doing the little end quest to superpower our weapons that totally won't be smoking husks soon, and enjoying that bit of story. And then I've got as a result 2 of the mage towers done. I have
Nice.
I have my feral done and feral druid and my prot warrior. Those 2 were at least for me. I mean, the feral druid I did the first time. Like I didn't have to do it multiple times. But
That's what I've heard about that. But the prop warrior is just then you're good.
Yeah, it took me 3 tries to do prot warrior, but that's just because I had. I mean, yes, I've read and watched all the videos and all that fun stuff, but I had to experience it. I had to see what it felt like for myself, and then I went back and tried to do the same thing with the guardian druid, and it's like, totally different fight. So I'll have to do that if I want to. That's the thing, because now I'm looking at it, it's like, well, do I want to go through all this effort for this weapon look? Well, so that's weird, creepy Roid Bear. I don't know if I want weird, creepy Roid Bear on my list.
Right.
So
yeah.
So I need to go through my list of weapon appearances to see which ones do I actually want to get. What do I actually want to go through? Because you have to get the gear to get up to at least 900 eye level to make it worthwhile. Anything over that, of course, is going to be making it all the more easier. But That's a bit of my focus. And then, of course, with the announcement of Fallout 76, I've kind of been diving back into the Fallouts, playing with. I've decided to add a few mods because it always makes it interesting. Add quest lines, all that fun stuff. So
very cool.
The one thing I don't like about Fallout 76 is sometimes you don't want to play with other people.
Right?
Yeah, but
It's
you won't
just-
have much choice. So
And
yeah.
Well, not to be a naysayer, but just it's nice to Fallout to turn into Rust.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I want to know where Lane got a hold of our cat.
I know, right?
So
teleport.
she can't, see what you don't
magic
realize.
of podcasting.
Yes. See, I have a little chair behind me, and of course, it's her chair. And whenever I end up getting online, she immediately so she starts poking me in the butt.
Yeah.
Wanting pets?
Yeah, and it's like, wait a minute, you're playing your space villain thing. Let's do the whole James Bond villain thing.
Oh yeah. Fig has been known to do the same thing with Ted and myself.
So thanks, Serenity, for that. Thank you, because she's a total attention slut. It's
right.
It's like I'm leading a 50-man fleet, and she comes like, "You're gonna pet me now." I'm like, "Oh God."
Yep. There's been a few times where I've looked over and Ted's writing, and Fig is on the desk trying to give him advice.
Yeah.
So
you mean this thing right here?
Yes, that handsome boy. They are twins. So we know, guys. So it's 300. We're announcing what the shift in the podcast. It's now Catcast.
Mine's sleeping behind me. I don't want to bother her. So.
Right.
Somehow the dog's not in the room with me. So Ted, besides playing with Fig, what have you been doing in and out of game?
Well, I completely blame you, but I have altitis to the shock of no one.
No one.
I took 15 characters, so that's 13 Horde, 2 Alliance characters through the content that just got released. So they all have their multi-powered weapons now, and they're ready for the third. They're ready for the next phase of it.
It's obscene. It's obscene, Gomez.
Okay.
Well, okay. There's a story.
Before we go, and you complain about us Eve players. And our
that's true. Because you can only drive one spaceship at once.
You can never, ever say or poop on us from here on out because, God.
Oh yeah, no. Tell me. Tell me about it.
Yeah. So the issue is, they did 12 different class stories depending on the class. So I wanted to see all the class stories. So I got all 12 classes on the Horde side through their class order hall. And then of course, since I'm through the class order hall, I wanted the mount for the class. So I got that. I got a allied race. I got my Nightborn as my 13th Horde, because I wanted the armor. So she's 110. So then I was like, well, she's there, take it, may as well go through it. And then I had a warrior that's a 110 on the Alliance side, took her through it. And then I'm like, well, I still want to see some stuff on the Alliance side. So I'm going to boost a druid over on the Alliance side because they can do anything. And so I now have a guardian druid over on the Alliance side, and I took them through it. So technically, I leveled 14 of them. One was boosted, but either way. The good news is I got 3 pets out of it. I got taking them all through. I got 3 mini tanks out of them. One has been shipped off to Eludra when she rejoins because reasons. Nice. So, but yeah, no, it was fun, and the raid team's kind of on high past couple of days or raid times talking about what we're gonna do, which alts we're going to play, who's going to be our main. The nice thing is there's going to be a leveling catch-up now for gear, probably in a couple weeks, with the burning of Teldrassil scenario. So we will have to see what happens from there. But that and a lot of Fallout Shelter with my daughter. So we've been playing that on the Switch.
It is dangerously addictive.
It's awesome though. I mean, she's on summer break, so it's great. I'll come down if I'm working from home. I'll come down and they'll both be, be working on it
on
so
break.
It's fun.
Yeah. On break. McCullough, what have you been up to?
So, as always, I tend to be the pen and paper girl. On our Friday night crew, we finally got all of the 5 characters have gone separate ways. We're finally back together. That was good. As, Waterdeep.
You split the party 5 ways?
Well, okay, so go with what happened was at the end of last year, we were 15th level characters. We were on a god campaign.
Okay.
Our DM's like, okay, you need to go through the portal where gods are made. Like, cool. We go through, it's like, and now you're 0 level characters in an orphanage. Pick your new class.
That's not very fun.
Whoops.
Right. So it actually is pretty cool. So we then had a few sessions where we were 0 level characters, and then Orcus attacked the city, the village we were at. We found out that the woman running the orphanage was this great warrior. She basically held Orcus off while we fled. We all went different directions, started different paths. 2 years passed, and then we finally got back together in Silvery Moon. And then we went to get the last member in Waterdeep as, horrible tentacle-y things took it over and destroy the city. So, my lovely Cthulhu warlock, Thayan warlock, went from 15th level chaotic neutral to a priest of Saloon, who is now good, chaotic good.
I also am in pen and paper playing a warlock, but I'm only 4th level. So
Cool.
I'm not imposing or scary. I don't actually even know who my patron is.
Really cool.
No.
What pack did you go with?
I went with the the old one, the Cthulian.
Yes,
The
dude.
Cthulian one.
Run
Yeah.
us. Yes.
The most messed up one.
It's so screwed up, but it's a good time. It's such a good time.
But at 4th level, I'm not scaring anyone yet. So
oh yeah,
we'll
Yeah.
get there, but it's gonna be a while before.
Hades was a little crazy.
Okay.
And she was you had the blade lock version, so she was pretty good in battle. And she was from Fae, so she really was messed up.
Nice.
It was a good time.
You
And-
folks.
We folks. So that was one thing that happened. It was Friday. That was great. In our mage game, this is really kind of exciting because we have the mage game that takes place 10 years before our werewolf game. 2 different storytellers, but the same group, the same players. So
nice. So it just lets the storytellers from another game or
Right.
DM from another game play a
Right.
character in this one. Okay.
So it's great. So, but they decided, they were sat together, said, okay, this is going to be the same thread. So things that happen in mage are going to affect werewolf.
Okay. Same world.
And-
It makes sense.
Same. The really cool thing was, this means my character is not going to bite it during mage, because after they decided this, I got a message from both of them saying, hey, by the way, you have a Destiny 5. Your mage has a Destiny 5. And the DM of the mage game's like, so you can't die. I just can't guarantee what condition you'll be when you get there.
Nice.
But which
Nice.
is kind of really handy because, weirdly enough, they don't like it when you rewind time next to the river Styx.
No, usually
No, that's bad.
that's upsetting some balances, I think.
So I may have attracted a greater time paradox spirit, which my mage, who's a 19-year-old cult of ecstasy mage, might now call hot time daddy.
Time daddy.
Hot time daddy.
Hot time daddy.
So with the time paradox, I'm assuming everyone immediately grows a little goatee.
Probably.
You
Probably.
can tell the evil ones from the good ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
That's right. Even the women.
No, God, no. I have 4 appearance. I am 19 years old. I am hot. I don't need a goatee. So that's kind of what I've been doing. Our werewolf game, we achieved an accomplishment the other day. We got actually the amulet that belongs to the Mage King, who I know as a player is actually one of the characters in the Mage game. So that's kind of fun.
Oh.
No one else knows this, but the storyteller of the werewolf she can't keep secrets from me, which is good.
It's handy when you're around.
It is really handy. She doesn't keep secrets. It's like, by the way, Millie's Revenant later on. I'm like, damn.
Well,
So-
I mean, and also if you also are able to keep that from everyone and still role play like it's Discovery, the DM doesn't mind as much. Usually.
No, not at all. And believe me, I'm a secret keeper. I don't tell crap when someone says something to me in privacy. So that is what I've been doing in game, out of game, dice necklaces, con prep work, blah blah. So not as much fun. So we're going to go ahead and the idea of this show is we're actually going to be interviewing our amazing guests. But first, let's briefly go over this week's news.
AIE
News.
One of our own, Jason McDonald, aka Thraxis, has written a book. It's called How to Be a Shitty Boss. It's currently, you're right. It's currently available for Kindle download on Amazon. Links are in the show notes, or just search for Jason McDonald. And by the way, shitty is spelled with the star instead of I and the hashtag instead of pound sign instead of H.
Because family friendly.
Exactly. Reed's Fireside Chat is going strong. It's a good way to hear the broad range of guildies that we have and what they are up to and exactly who they are. The show can be found on YouTube. Search for Size Fireside Chat or subscribe to her feed, Cyrene the Rogue. Summer of Love and Remembrance Day are coming up. The annual event celebrating our love for the AIE community takes place July 30th through August 5th. Feel free to contact Cy if you want to run an event in any of the games that AIE plays in, and she can get you on the schedule. Remembrance Day across a multitude of games is on August 2nd, by the way.
And in streaming and guild podcast news, available from download from iTunes, Stitcher, and their own website, secretsoftalonguard.com, which is not Secret Soft Alonguard, by the way.
Which is what it looks like, yes.
Which is what it looks like. You know.
Right.
But you can join Everick, Zafira, Draven Dresden, Ben the Mage, Coded Nevermore, and Aludra on their D&D adventure, Secrets of Talonguard. Little hint from what it was before. They are only a few episodes in, so join and take a listen to what the heroes of Nightsblood have gotten themselves into. And upcoming streams, Friday, June 6th, ESO, Mandatory Fun Night, featuring whoever has volunteered to stream the Scrollsy Fun.
I think probably Kenny.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, July.
Yes. It is likely July as well.
July. No, next year, June 6th.
No, guys, I'm a time mage. I rewound it and upset the time paradox first, but clearly I don't care, and y'all have goatees.
Yes.
That's right.
That'll just take me a day. I'll be fine.
Yeah.
That'll take me 2 weeks.
I shaved for a reason.
But after all of our fun tonight, you can find Max, who will be doing planned WoW playing on the AIE stream. Stick around for some pre-BFA hype or BFO or battle or whatever people are calling it now. Hang out in Discord.
Whatever we're calling it, yeah.
Yeah, there's still not a consensus. Everyone keeps calling it their own weird little thing. Normally by now it's all figured out.
And we have a programming note. Dan Kinney might be hosting. Totally not sure yet. Depends on who else wants to step in.
Yeah.
Yep.
My QB, ladies and gentlemen, my QB. Anyways, this is how we get work done, by the way.
That's right. And speaking of WoW, the Summer of Love WoW schedule. Tuesday, July 31st, the Pub Crawl Micro Holiday. On Saturday, August 4th, we'll have a coop because you need a coop. And it should be interesting because I'm willing to bet that patch 8.0 will be dropped by then and the guard should be level 120. So that's going to be fun.
Lots of death.
Yeah. Sunday, August 5th, Gusty's giveaways.
Well, always a good time.
And a huge thank you to Dan Kinia for leading the new braid during Legion. From her note that she posted on AIE's Discord, thank you to everyone who joined us for the final new braid run of Legion. After some early struggles with the first of 3 bosses, we killed the final 2 of TOS on our first pulls. It was an awesome final run before the break. New braid will resume the first Saturday of October, which is the 6th, and current plans are for them to take their freshly leveled 120s back to Legion so they can clear the Argus raid. Hope to see you all then.
Huzzah.
And in SWOTOR news, we have Mandatory Fun Night will be on the Republic side this week. Be sure and join all the fun as the guild takes on conquest goals, has some story time with Max for folks that haven't run through content yet, and to make sure and remind everyone, fun is mandatory, as is your armor. Don't let your trend dog fool you into think you're actually wearing your gear.
Yeah.
And then we've mentioned it several times. Mandatory Fun Night is on Friday. Will be ESO, so Elder Scrolls Online. So be sure to join early and get in the fun. You may even be led over a cliff by Dankinia. Who knows what adventures are planned?
Ooh. So on the Eve side, so pew pew pew, so many explosions, hurt feelings, narratives, man babies, and more. So come join AIE and the AIE Fleet Commanders with the power of their alliance. By the way, FC is short for Gun Fun Creators, and help defend our new home and put the nefarious Test Alliance in their place. By the way, Test Alliance being one of our original alliances. So,
oh yes, that's when I was playing.
Yes,
I was playing during Test.
So it's great, Gomez. We're now shooting the hand that used to feed us.
Oh, wow, I'm not surprised.
So the Hobo War, which is now being known as the Eve War, everybody versus everybody. So come on, hug everyone with your teeth. So with that. So, AIU actually offers a Fleet Commander program and a soon-to-be announced New Bro training program. New Bro training.
Ooh.
Nice. That is handy to have. I had someone kind of walk me through stuff. It helps me get up to speed a lot faster.
Definitely.
So you get to play. You can play for free for your alphas, and you perhaps get free ships. All the ships you can blow up.
With Lank is an expert at.
Yeah. Although his, money ratio is still pretty good.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Blown up ships, 2 ships he's blown up.
His wife has expensive hobbies. She collects dolls.
Yes,
so
and one of the things that should never be downplayed is the fun, the power of the metagame, the narrative games, and if you could only see the propaganda
of the dark side of the force.
The propaganda game on this side is amazing. I mean, it's like if I can only show you this great image that was about to be distributed, going, oh yeah, that's gonna peeve someone off.
But you do have a very special set of skills.
Well, and so what you do in that say, I wish I could show you this, and then show like a frame of it.
Right.
Just take it up.
Fine.
Well, see, I won't even do a frame of it. It's like if I can do screen, see if I can do.
Don't careful. Don't share something you're not intending to share.
Right? No, I'll leave it as is because otherwise it'll get me in trouble.
Perfect. All right. And in STO news, not to be left out of the new content, make sure you check in with your fleet mates in AIE and get ready to tackle the annual. I've had a glass of wine.
That's a made-up word. That is not a word.
It's not. July 3rd to August 16th. More details are on Art Games, and the link is in the show notes.
What date is August 6th?
Shut it.
That was my typing. Sorry.
300 episodes, still got it going. Yeah.
Words
are hard.
Gomez, we miss you terribly, but words are still hard.
Words are still hard.
They are.
Debate that.
Alrighty. In Final Fantasy XIV news, make sure you're patched up and ready to tackle the second installment of the Deep Dungeon series, Heaven on High, with your guildmates on July 3rd. Unsure of what you need to do to be ready, and check out the link we have in the show notes, because that's long, I'm not going to say it, which tells you what you need to do and how to access the new content coming.
Yep. In Lord of the Rings Online news, there are still rumors of getting the band back together. But you can enjoy the Summer Festival.
We did it. They can do it. It's fine.
Yeah. You can still enjoy the Summer Festival, which just started this weekend, including the Weatherstock concert series. Again, getting the band back together. July 7th and 8th on the Landroval server. And with that, let's get back to Gomez and Lank.
Yes. So I just have a few interview questions for you guys. Okay. So Gomez, I'm going to start with you. How did you get involved in the AIE podcast?
Okay, well, I started as a submitter of a segment, which got to be as long as the podcast.
20 minutes.
Yeah, no. The first one was 7 minutes, and most of them were 20 to 25
Oh,
minutes.
yeah, I know. Yeah,
So-
it was a great segment.
because a lot of people were sending in info and we wanted to try to include everyone. So I went from that. And then I remember they were doing a show and something major had happened, just in terms of like AIE news. And Warak, I believe, was the one who couldn't be there. It might have been Dills. I don't remember. But they had me kind of sub because everyone knew who I was because of this ridiculously long segment that had been in. And I think it was probably 5 or 6 episodes later that they said, "Hey, all 3 of us are quitting. Do you want to do this?" And thankfully, Bill stuck around for it was at least half a year to sort of get me up to speed and to not. And then by then, Accusat had joined. So I was very appreciative of Dills did not just leave me hanging like, here's all the crap. Like, do a podcast now. So I never really done anything live. Everything we had done was super scripted and really edited. And so yeah, it was kind of a scary moment at first, but when Dill said he would stick around, I was like, okay, things are going to be okay. That's all I needed for
that helped a ton.
Yeah.
So like, what about you? Since you are a very common guest, how did you first get involved in AIE?
Well, I think I got kind of snookered in.
All?
I mean, it was of course Gomez and Dills and Warwick at the time, and I was just working as a lowly Praetorian, and you know, I think it was Randy says, "Hey, can you be on the AIE podcast thing? Because I can't do it, but maybe you can do it." And I'm like, "Sure." I mean, what could possibly go wrong?
And then we determined Uncle Lank likes to talk.
And then I realized, hey, I have a knack for storytelling and rabble rousing and video game demagoguery. So I could run with this. So yes, that's how I got hookered into all this thing. I don't know. It's like it's. I have been on so many times. And it's been such a long time. It's like I don't even remember a lot of the stuff anymore. And so it's like, how the hell did I get involved in this? I have no idea. But
it was a premonition because now you're like the communications guy for your corp. There you go.
So there you go. So yes, if you have a gift of gab and a funny story to tell, you could be here right now.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So it's time to pick favorites. Who was your favorite guest on the show?
Oh man. I always loved, this is super like obvious answer, but I always loved when Scott and Randy could show up because they were always really involved in the production of those shows. Like I would email them and it would be something that I could actually communicate with them and they would help us set up the show. And they were really generous with their time. Mm-hmm. And this is in the time they didn't have to be. So it was really neat to show that they cared about the community and, were willing to step in and do that.
Very cool. So sorry about that, Mew. Oh. It was that way for a certain reason. I'm like,
oh, was it?
Sorry. Yeah. No, there's a reason for it.
Reason for the madness going on behind the scenes.
Sorry for the inside baseball. They're in the middle of the show.
All right, then we'll go to length with what was your favorite time on the show?
That's unfair because there's been a lot of really fun times. It is. All I can really say is that some of my favorite times, besides making everyone laugh and in channel, every time I would flummoxed Hoots, who would join me in here. I think only once he was actually like on air. Most of the time he just puts his little image. But it's just, just knowing that he's getting flummoxed, and I'm like, I'm gonna,
yeah,
and just accurate. Like very nicely pushing those little buttons that I know will get a real reaction out of them because how do I say it? I'm trying to consider, like, he is the Dean Martin to my Jerry Lewis.
Perfect.
Yeah,
No,
I would
Yeah.
I would 100% agree with that. Like, you're the nice lady.
Hey!
And he's the like sort of subdued, kind of
It's
dry
like
humor. Yeah.
Very
Yes.
dry, nice, and of course I've seen the other side of Hoots. He
Right.
says he's a terrible person. He is the nicest terrible person I know. he constantly evil, harmless things to people all the time. Like I, on the other hand, will like actively like will wish like ill will on people. I'm like, come on, let's do it. Come on, let's do it. Do it. Just pull the string. No. But it's just getting his goat sometimes. That's the most fun times I have on the show.
Very
I
cool.
can easily imagine
Awesome.
On show and in life.
Yep. All right. So Gomez, what are you proudest of during your time with the show?
Oh man. Well, I loved that we were able to do live shows from Notacular. Was always super cool.
Yes.
Although the first year we tried it, we were like at the same time as the prize winning thing. And I was like, really?
Yes.
This is when you're going to give me time for the room when absolutely everyone is going to want to win a free laptop in the other room. So that was kind of, but I appreciated that we were able to have that live interaction with people. It was, that was certainly a lot of fun. And I still cannot believe, so Bukas and Alakaz and I started the raid wrap up.
Uh-huh.
And then Alakaz decided to step down because he had other stuff going on, which I totally understand. And then Bukas did as well. And then just randomly, Coltrane, who it was Red Band at the time because he made trailers for a living. So Red Band, like a Red Band trailer, like a rated R trailer.
Yep.
He was like, oh, hey, I'd totally love to fill in if like, Bukas is stepping down. And then he sends me this thing that I'm like, dude, you're on the wrong channel. Something is drastically wrong that you would want to submit content to me.
Really bad.
Oh my
Yeah.
In a world,
I could not believe how good Coltrane was.
Yeah.
In a world where I submit an audio clip.
Yeah. I mean, he also was the voiceover for 2 of the Muppet movie trailers, like the new movies that came out. He actually was the voiceover guy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are you doing here? Like, I appreciate it. And I'm glad that he went on to, do Convert to Raid and all this other stuff. And I'm really glad, but it was just so funny that this was someone randomly on the AIE forums just, hey, would you want someone else to submit stuff? So yeah, that was really, really insane for me.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh.
That's awesome.
Well, Gomez, before you go any further, remember, our friend Randy was at one point just a contributor of a segment of a particular like WoW podcast.
Yeah.
And now he just happens to be a community person at Blizzard Entertainment.
It's crazy.
You never know.
Yeah, you never know. Which is, I mean, one of the reasons he stepped down from the instance, which was sad, but still, it was a great idea for him. And I'm, wish all the best to Randy. He's totally awesome.
Yeah.
But it just goes to show funny things happen when you
Yeah, it's great.
And what's interesting is you'll hear this in Dills' interview coming up. I'm going to cut it in here, but because we asked him the same thing, and he was talking about how the AIE podcast got him basically the role on the instance, and then the rest of everything from there. So it was
hilarious. I have a I'm gonna
please
an anecdote here.
Please, we want you to do this.
So Dills and I were, because this is when Dills it was Gafoni, Warwick, and Dills, and they were all basically stepping away from the podcast. And so I talked to Dills, and he's like, no, I'll totally stick around, like it'll be fine. And I was really relieved. That was for 2 months. And then Randy stepped down from the instance. And I was like, Dills, it's going to be you on the instance.
Are you leaving me?
And Dills is like, dude, it is. And I don't know what to do. And I was like, what? I was joking. Like, I have no idea. So it was super hilarious. And he stuck around for an additional, I think it was at least 6 months.
Yeah.
to make sure that everything was okay. But I'm like, dude, this is an opportunity for you on the podcast world. You need to take this, like, step away if you need to step away, because now and again he wouldn't be able to show up for a show. And Kefis, love Kefis to death, and I think Lank is going to talk about him here in a bit. He was only with us for a very short period of time, but the dude is like insanely creative, but we never knew if he was going to show up or not. Yeah. And so it was really like, it was kind of we were torn during that time, but it's been a really fun time. Like, I've never regretted a moment that I spent on this.
Wonderful.
Yeah, because you had Dills for, I'm looking at the wiki right now. It says that Dills was on basically 9 episodes from, because you started in 63.
Okay.
He was on till 72, but Carius joined from 63 to 68. So you had Carius for 5 or 6 episodes.
It was only 5 episodes. Okay. Like,
you had Carius the Bard on.
And we'll talk. I think someone's going to mention it later on the show, and it's even linked in the show notes, I think. There is a Christmas episode.
That Christmas episode is amazing. Oh my gosh.
Amazing. I believe Kefis wrote that.
Yeah.
Like he was like,
that was
would you
actually
guys mind
Dills.
if I did something? And I was like, sure, dude. Like, and then he sent a script like a week later, and it was insanely good.
Yeah.
No, that was actually Dills wrote it and worked with Carius on it.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. Because he
I
actually
remember we
talked
listened
about
to it
that
quite a few times.
He talked about that in his segment. So
really, I had nothing to do with that other than I showed up to read for it.
That's
like,
great.
I had zero involvement with this process.
Awesome.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. All right. So Lank, we have to know, how many times have you guested on the
I have no
AIE
idea.
podcast?
I have no idea.
It's been a lot, dude.
If someone wants to go figure it out, they're more than welcome. I lost track count after like 2.
Okay.
But you've been on the podcast a number of times in a number of functions,
roles.
as the WoW guild leader.
Yep.
Sending out propaganda for Eve, just as an AIE community member. All of it.
Organizing BlizzCons and guild halls and yada yada yada. So I took a breakup for about 1.5 years just because graduate school.
Yep.
Which totally kills your social life. I'll tell you right now.
It does, yeah.
Don't do it. Don't do it. And actually, don't look at your monthly statement because oh my god.
No, don't.
No,
You just
I could have bought a nice house in Bhutan with that money. You know what I'm saying?
Or what, a mortgage payment in LA, one of the two.
I could have put in the down payment to a small
bungalow,
like studio where I share a bathroom and toilet with my neighbor.
Right.
It's an efficiency.
No, just the thing. Well, just to come out, bring up some like bad news about the LA area. People are now renting out box trucks and converting them into places to stay.
Yikes.
So I'm like, it's like, oh, that box truck. What kind of view does it? Does it come with a skylight?
It's Ready Player One all over again.
I know. It's like, oh my god. So it's like, oh, it's sad. But yeah, as for the number of times, I have no idea.
I would say it's probably. There's been 300 episodes. I would say
20.
25 probably.
Yeah.
So 2025. I if not more than that, simply because I remember there was a week that we were doing a lot of Eve news consecutively because there was like, hey, the world is turning upside down, and Lank is really the only person in the guild who knows what's going on.
Also, some inside AIE baseball. It might say on our spreadsheet. By Lank's name, make sure you rein him in. It may say that.
He will talk.
Keep him to 10 minutes max. Otherwise, If you give them an inch, next thing you know,
I suspect when you're down here and we go to Chino's in July that we're going to be there for 3 hours.
Oh
yeah.
MG. And when I'm there, I might be bringing some e-friends, some e-folks who are
Oh my gosh.
Nice.
So
I planned it on purpose. I don't have a game that night.
Yeah.
You know,
there you go.
Because all I'm saying, we're supposedly having lunch.
It's going to be Leonard, guys.
It's lunch. Next thing we know, we're going to be waking up to a couple of like unconscious, police, state troopers, 2 counties over, is going, how the heck did we get? And why am I wearing a bonnet?
Right. But my pretty floral bonnet, I will end you. All right. So I'm going to grab this next question here. Gummis. And I put this on here actually as a joke shoot for when I did a Ludra's episode or interview, but it worked. We're sort of keeping it. Do you have a favorite co-host?
So I will be honest, I love Dills. Dills is awesome. I love, he's like the Hearthstone guy. If I need to know anything, I can just watch his Twitch streams and learn a ton. But he is so much cooler than pretty much anyone else on the podcast. So I love doing the show with Dills, but it's like, you're just on a different level. Like, you're in a band and you're super cool. And, he organized a golf league. Like, this guy's on a different level than most people.
Right.
So I'm just going to have to say, as a collective group of hosts, I thought Akuzada and Aludra and I formed, we had a specific voice.
Yeah.
And the voice was super consistent, and we all knew each other well enough to know what things were going to work, what things didn't. And I think we really, really found a great voice during that time.
I will say, I was kind of really upset when Dills, Gafoni, and Warwick all left. But to me, because that's one of my favorite times listening to the podcast. But when the three of you guys got together, I'm like, okay, this clicks, this works.
Because Dills and I worked together fine. And then Kefas came, and Kefas was super creative, but really unreliable, unfortunately. And then when Akuzad came in, and Dills, I think, waited to leave till Akuzad was there. So it was never just me. Right. And if it would have been just me, I don't know if the podcast would have made it. I would have probably tried to drag Lang in or something. Just we have to keep this going, because if it dies, it dies.
Right,
it's really
definitely
hard to restart something if it's died.
But with that, if I can interject,
because you will.
I will, because like the snake eating its tail. Change is good, and change brings a mix to stuff. And change leads to hijinks and hilarity.
Yes.
So let's just say this: it's one of those situations that, you had the initial group, Gafoni and Warwick, and then
don't forget Aprillian. You had 15
minutes.
And Gafoni. Then you guys came, and then there was the Aludra Kefas years, and now we're in the with you folks here. It's it's evolved, it's changed, but it's still entertaining.
So what kind of cracks me up is literally there is a Gomez stopped being a host and I started being a host. So there's we never crossed over as hosts, but I've taken over your place as I'm the member of the host that mainly rolls dice.
Yeah. The majority of my gaming has nothing to do with a computer, unfortunately, or a console. So
So it's so I feel kind of I've taken your place in that respect, which is funny because you ended and I began as a host of the show.
And it was really music. I mean, I completely agree with Lank. I started in the 63rd episode, I think the wiki said, and I stopped at the 200th episode.
Right.
And I was fine to keep doing it. What I knew at some point they needed another voice.
Right.
Because I'm not the longest running podcast host, but we were doing it every week.
That's
for
exhausting.
a while, which was really insane. Akuzad super wanted to do it. And I was like, dude, whatever. I can make Thursday nights available.
I love the fact that during your tenure though, it really became not the WoW podcast, but the community podcast.
Yeah. And that was, we were thrilled to make that change because I mean, at some point, WoW is in a, WoW's period goes down and then an expansion comes out and it goes. Yeah. So it's like the news cycle of WoW was super predictable. And it was like, we're going to have a super lull. And then I think Star Wars was in there and we've, we've explored a ton of things
and all of it. And
yeah.
Very cool. Yeah. Very cool. So, similarly, but not quite exact. Link, who was your favorite person to be on the show with?
So, again, I can always default and go with Hoots, but that's
right.
Totally cheating. One of my favorite people to be actually on the show together, at least I think I was actually the one who kind of introduced them to the podcast, was Kefis. Because he at the time was running in my raid team. Shout out to the old members of UDC, Undercity Deck Collectors. Just to give you an idea how old that is.
Old school, dude.
And I remember meeting this like fledgling paladin who's like, man, I suck. And I'm like, this Kefis person, why do you think you suck? Why is it? It's like, well, I'm legally blind. And, I just can't get the numbers and I don't think I can raid. And I'm like, dude, that's just ridiculous. Here, come run with us. Now, at the time, I was number 2 paladin in the guild. I quickly became number 3.
Right. Oh, yeah. The man is insane. We've raided with him as well.
And it's like, he's like, super humble, kind of like, self-deprecating. Oh, I'm not really, really good. I'm like, dude.
You're a freaking plant at this point, honestly.
You're a melee DPS who's putting range DPS to shame.
Yeah.
It's like,
and the monster.
And to give you an example of how awesome Kefis is as a person, he literally butt dialed because I was at the top of his cell phone list. We were on the phone for an hour and a half. I had not spoken to him in like 9 months. And it's literally like, oh yeah, Kefis, what the, like, why are you calling me? And he's like, oh, I butt dialed. And then we just started talking. Yeah. Like, immediately was familiar. Like,
I know. And
that's awesome.
And you just kind of going to show you, it was sort of like a long tradition of me bringing in people who, against certain norms of gaming and just like, when you were dealing with individuals who are more interested in like bringing in the DPS numbers or just being at the top of the damage scoreboard or whatever you want to say, it's like here was an individual talented in his own right in different ways who's able to kind of surpass everyone's expectations and blow everyone away. It's like one time we were talking in comms and he's like, I could be doing a little better. It's like, dude, you beat me on everything. You're like number 1 paladin.
Right.
I mean, honestly, it's like, and then by that time he was doing like his like Legally Blind series. And then he was doing his Kefis runs through whatever games he's going. And it's like, here's a guy who at one point was told by a social worker, I don't think you know how blind you are.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Wow.
Who at every opportunity was basically like, stomped on and reminded, you shouldn't be doing what you're doing because you should just be happy with your lot in life. And it's like,
people suck. Good. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I know.
God.
Wow.
But it's like, give the guy a chance. And next thing I know, I'm invited to his wedding later this year.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, nice.
It's like, I mean, come on. It's like, and it's just like one of those things where it's like, and they get all misty eyed and kind of like the power of community and oh God, here he goes.
No, it's true, man.
But it's true.
Our community, though.
No, it's true. And
please.
And it's a thing that comes along again and again and again. And I'll shut up now because I'm going on for a while.
No, dude. Well, you speak with the power community and like, Alikaz and Leontine moved here because they knew us and we were able to talk about, the area. Mm-hmm. Same thing. We have people like come through. They're coming through Phoenix. We're going to do something. So you don't need to necessarily have to have a BlizzCon or an Nerdtacular or something to have that power community.
Right.
My wife once made a joke about 4 years ago. She goes, do you realize you now pretty much like base your vacations on where your guildies are at?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
And I'm like, I've been to Seattle, San Francisco, New York, New Jersey,
yep,
Pittsburgh, Phoenix. Oh my!
Oh, do we have guildies and pits?
Yeah, we do. We got guildies and pits. So
cool.
yeah, Billy's in Phoenix, and one of the things that I did was like I promised myself when I graduated from my master's, that's like I'm going to go take a trip to Tokyo, and I'm meeting someone from the guild in Tokyo.
That's amazing! Oh my
Just
gosh!
goes to show, just let you know how it works.
It is a great community, and I think the podcast is a huge part of that. And that's due to the foundation that was laid by Gomez, by Zod, by Ludra, and those that went before. So it's a huge thing. It's a huge thing.
It like it says, it builds upon itself.
It does.
Like a giant redwood tree.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Mew, you have the next question, my friend.
Alrighty, so we're going to condense everything down to one single best memory from the show.
Oh man, Beth.
Right?
You're acting
Easy
like
question.
I can
Easy
remember
question.
back. So I don't specifically know what episode it was, but I think it was probably within 4 or 5 episodes of both Aludra and Akuzad and I being on the show. The fact that I understood pretty much exactly what both of them brought to the table.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, oh, hell, this is going to work. Because when all the other hosts quit and it was Dills and I for a while, I was like, I don't know if I can maintain this. And that's when I was spending way more time editing the raid wrap up, because I still did that for quite a few episodes into the AIE pot, and then it just got to be too much, so I dropped the raid wrap up. But so I just want to it just had something to do with like, oh, we got the show notes on this day, and then Zod came with this, and Eluder came with this, and I was like, oh, okay, we can do this every week. I didn't think we would be able to do this every week. So I think it's just the recognition that, oh, this is going to work out. That I don't have to worry. This can be sustained for at least a little while.
and clearly, it's still going.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But I mean, all 3 of us aren't here anymore. So I'm glad that it was able to pass on so fluidly. I mean, we had a couple like, oh, here's the bumper and all that other stuff. But other than that, it was the 3 of you having to do what we did.
Exactly.
Yep. Yeah.
We're kind of in that place
Find
now
your
where
own
we know.
voice and
Yep. We're definitely in the same place. We're like, I get people scheduled. Ted does majority of the show notes. Mew helps with like, the segments and all of that. So yeah, we definitely are.
One of my most amusing things for doing the podcast, it was probably episode 4, and maybe it was an Eve show. So that might have been you, Lank, and Warak talking. I think it was an Eve show, and one of my proudest moments was I'm the one that started the Google Docs show notes. Thank you.
Oh my God. Thank you. Thank you. Oh my God.
Like Warwick had come back on the podcast and he was doing show notes and he was like, show notes. Well, you guys got fancy when I left. It was like, no, I got sane.
Okay.
Because trying to organize something that everyone doesn't have access to is useless in this episode, in this sort of environment.
Gomez, and I have to blame you because I use Google Docs for everything because of the AIE podcast. And I use it for our game notes. I take notes during game. I'm like, okay, guys, if you want to look at what happened, instead of saying, hey, just go ahead.
Happened last time. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. So, why don't you go to the game
really
notes?
handy for collaboration.
That's amazing. Oh my God.
Just to let you know, Gomez, because of you, when we restarted the Cap Stable podcast, and the subsequent like CSM election shows where we had a whole like debate forum thing, multiple like 40 candidates and stuff, guess who we ripped off?
Oh, did you steal our show notes?
Yes.
Well, it was just, it was not sustainable. I don't know how they did it before. It must have just been an email that was passed back and forth or something. I don't know.
But just so you know, when we had a couple on our show, when we had a couple of devs coming from CCP and we would give them the show notes, they're like, show notes? Wow. You guys are
that.
How do you know what you're going to talk about? If you
I don't get it.
Yeah.
That's like, it's like, we're told, ask, do you guys have a journalism background? I'm like,
no, we have a Gomez background.
I would like to remain sane background, and I'm running the show. So, Yeah, that
So
was a
evidently-
necessity for me.
Evidently, we now have a Gomez background, is what we have. When everyone asks that question, a chick for my Gomez.
I have
very
reached
cool.
level 6 Gomez.
Yeah.
What about you, Lank? What is your condensed down single most important memory of the entire time you've been involved with the AIE podcast?
Under 10 minutes, Lank.
So there was this one time I was on the show, and I didn't even know I was going to be on the show. Eluder was working with Accuzod, and I think it was you. And Accuzod couldn't make it. Gomez couldn't make it. And one like Saturday evening, I got a phone call from Eluder going, "Hey, what are you doing tomorrow at 5? You think you can carve out an hour and a half?" I'm like, okay, sure. And I get a little, ping from Kefis. Oh, Eluder wants me to be at this thing with you tomorrow. Oh, okay, good. I don't know what she's planning on, some kind of raid or whatever. 5 minutes later, okay, we're gonna do this podcast. Here's your show notes, and we're like,
We tricked you. You already agreed you had time, so there's no excuses.
Yeah.
I may have done that once as Zod, and I got people for him to do the show with, so I hear you.
and Kefis goes, "Are you serious? Oh my god, this is gonna be so horrible." And I'm like, I don't even know. I must have said like, "No, we can do this. Think it till we make it. Think it till we make it."
Dude, that's part of being a podcaster.
Oh, like I had any idea what I was doing.
Right?
And-
Good
Right.
heavens.
And
But this is my 99th episode, and I still know what I'm doing.
and Eludra hits the thing, and they were like, "Hey, look, 3 morons on video." Derp, 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 derp. And it ended up being like the funniest hour and a half that we could ever have had on the show.
It was scheduled for an hour, but Lank was on, so it became an hour and a half.
Yeah, because it's like, look what happens when you let the monkeys in the audio room.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Funny thing happens, and everything kind of smells like a little bit like poo. But
show notes or show title, guys.
Exactly.
Oh man.
All right.
Can I downvote that somehow?
Yes, you can. So Gomez, what is your best takeaway from your involvement with the podcast?
Well, first of all, I started up, and there was probably, I don't know, was Tipgiver also sending us his stuff as well as the instance?
Yes.
But it was always a week later,
Yeah.
so the instance had it first, which was fine. Like I understood. Oh,
Right.
you wanted the audience of a million to listen to it before the audience of 10,000. So, but
Yeah.
the amount of segments that I think we started encouraging people to have, I was really, really happy with. Like at one point we had 8 or 9 segments, and there was only a couple that I basically sat down and like, no, here's the things you need to change, and it will completely work. And there are so many like creative people within AIE. I'm really glad that the podcast is one of the ways it can, happen.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's I remember Buxley, doing his Ask Buxley and Miss Mulgra, and in fact, I think
Oh, I love her.
Oh yeah, and getting to finally meet Barb in real life, it was.
Oh yeah,
awesome.
she's amazing.
Our daughter was so shy when she met her, because like that was Ryan's favorite segment. It was during the first Nerdtacular that we went to, and we heard her voice. It was like actually we all went out to see Brave. And like,
okay.
Right, that's Miss Mulgra, and she just like she went over to her and she just had the biggest smile on her face.
Well,
and she
during one of the Nerdtacular segments, she got up to ask a question of the panel, and it was the I want to say it was the morning stream and all of the guests, or all of the like segment producers. And so Tom Arrow was one of and she went up and asked like a random question, and he's like, "Oh my God, you're Miss Mulgra?"
That was amazing. Yeah.
For a brief period of 10 seconds, he's super fanboyed out. And that must have made a millennium. Like that was super cool to see the interaction between like producer and a fan who makes the thing and really loves to do it. Like, I'm really
Yeah.
glad that we were able to give her a voice.
Yeah. And so a year ago today, we went hiking after an Nerdtacular and she was with us and we may have accidentally hiked through the snow, not planning on it. So
Oops.
that just came up in my memories. So
Yes.
yeah, that was that was really right. That was a really cool moment when Tom kind of fangirled out on her.
Yeah. Very cool. All right. And Lank, we have to ask the question since we covered it in pre-show. We got to do it here. How many ships have you blown up?
You should be the explosion. Be one with the chaos. Do not worry. Remove all emotional attachments of your ship because it is transitory and it will leave. But you get a new one.
Zen and the art of ship blowing up. Anyway.
The Zen of old poop. I'm gonna die.
Then I heard of, oh well.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And hence the term of the corp. What could possibly go wrong?
That's right. 5 seconds of regret, a lifetime of story.
Exactly.
So if you buy the stats, and if you ever want to find out the stats on people in Eve, you can just go to a website called Zkillboard. Plug for Zkillboard. Langthair Zonzo has lost roughly 370 ships for a grand total of an estimated $217. I have destroyed, caused, emotional, inflicted emotional like trauma, PTSD, whatever,
trauma.
Violence someone's ship to the tune of 712 ships and space stations for a total of about 790 billion isk, which roughly converts to $2,700.
Dude.
That's not bad. It's almost it's a little over
10
a
to 1.
10 to 1 ratio. You're good.
So for every,
it's an order of magnitude.
It is.
There's a digit added.
Yes. And it's like someone is like, what's the most expensive thing I've ever blown? It's like, a 50 billion isk Citadel.
Yes.
Jeez, dude.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like, they call me a maniac. I'm more like Hannibal Lecter. I'm more like Hannibal Lecter. I only eat the uncouth.
There you go.
And with that, guys, that is our show for tonight. While the chat room begins suggesting titles, I want to thank you guys so much for joining us. This has been an absolute pleasure. And in 100 episodes, somebody asked me what my favorite memory of the show is. It's probably going to be this.
Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you.
So
it was great to be here. I'm happy
you.
to be around for another milestone. This is going to keep going because the community will keep it going.
Exactly. So where can we find you guys on the interwebs?
Lanky, you can go ahead first.
So you can find me on Twitter at langtheris.com. And with these hopefully soon to be restarted Cap Stable, won't say anything more because I don't want to jinx it. And in game at Langtheris Onzo.
Awesome. Do you know you have propaganda in your
he knows.
As your picture?
He knows.
I did almost broke me.
How did that get there? Darn it! Oh,
And it almost broke me.
Currently, you can follow me on Twitter. I don't tweet all that often, but sometimes I do. Show not found. That's really it.
Awesome.
I don't have a presence on Instagram or anything. So.
You're not a 16-year-old girl. It's understandable. Mine does.
Alrighty. If you have a question or comment about our show, I'm sure there'll be many questions and comments after this one.
What the hell just happened?
You can email us at podcast@AIE-guild.org. You can also follow us on Twitter. The show is at AIE Podcast. I am at the Mewcow because Mewcow was taken. Bakala is at Cyberwaif, and Tetsemi is at Ivory Tiger. We record live with video every other Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. You can join the chat room and play along with us at our website, which is aie-guild.org/podcast-live-stream. And our Discord server for chat is at bit.ly/AIE Podcast Discord. Our theme was composed by the amazing Andrew Allen. Follow him with Keys with Soul on Twitter or his website, keyswithsoul.com.
And the full interviews with Dills and Aludra will be played immediately following the show on the audio format. But right now, it is time to play all the AIE member segments this week, including overly dramatic news from Hunts the Wind.
And next time, we'll be talking to Sweetgrass, aka Maul, about Overwatch. So until then, AIE, this is Makala.
This is Mukau.
This is Tetsemi.
And this has been the AIE Podcast.
Dun dun.
Diva for vida.
Yay! And that's a show.
Wow, I misspelled my own name. That was
You
impressive.
did. I fixed it.
Thank you.
My OCD was like, I know it's not spelled that way.
I was very quick. Oh God, thank you guys. That was a wonderful show.
You're welcome. Glad I could be here.
Yes.
Yep.
I'm gonna go eat dinner. Good night,
I need to
everybody.
make dinner.
All
I
right.
need to make dinner too.
Yeah.
I'm making grilled cheese.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
It's
So
hot for that.
inspired by your family, we've gotten into ramen, Mew. So I'm making ramen tonight.
That was yesterday's lunch. Yes, yes, that little boy is still obsessed with ramen. It's
That's
funny.
adorable.
He's
That's-
eating at a college level.
That's good.
He really is. It's pretty impressive.
No, but is it instant or like real ramen? Like,
We
No,
get
no, real
we get
ramen.
we get a ramen kit from Japan every month.
oh, great.
So it's actual Japanese ramen. So and most of it is the instant style, but there's so many different types of instant that actually make it seem like the real stuff you just got from a store, like someone cooked it. But it's amazing the variety over there.
I have a tradition of posting my lunch to the corp. and I posted an image of this bowl of ramen I was eating a couple months ago, and Tuku's like, "Where did you get that soup?" I was like, "What is it?" He's like, well, that's ramen. The egg yolk, it's orange. That's a real egg, not those manufactured ones you buy in the store. And I'm like, it's good ramen, dude. Locally sourced, farm fresh, cruelty free, you name it. And they're like, it's not there.
Yeah. Hey, McCullough, I think we need to remember probably
Oh, at the
I know
end,
we're
yeah, I
running late
agree.
at the end, just mention Max's stream.
Yeah.
So
We will. Let me go to
your
the
chat room. We have a show title suggestion from Sybil, and I think we'll go with that unless we come up with another one. So thank you all, chat room. I'm gonna cut the stream now so we can get some dinner.
Yes.